Put them in the hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that'll be good for them.
Yes. Wait, we should see what happens.
Yeah, they're real.
I bet there aren't many people that put flowers in
Can I get some?
Owen, you can give them to your mom tonight.
They're gonna be dead by tonight.
Why would I do that?
What happens when you put
Well,
flowers in hand sanitizer?
maybe get brownie points or something. Or your girlfriend. Do you have a girlfriend?
Oh,
Yeah.
She no comment.
Poor Owen.
There's no
All right,
water.
everybody have the
There's
notes
one of
from
paper clips.
yesterday.
I'll take the
David,
paper.
Floppy.
if you would find example 7, that's where we're gonna start today, okay?
They call me a herbivore.
Okay, is everybody ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Example 7, okay?
We've been on this back for like 3 days.
Did I?
Owen.
Okay, so we are going to finish this lesson today, and I'm kind of debating because honestly, what we do tomorrow is tomorrow.
Did you actually?
Yeah. What we do tomorrow and Friday is hard.
No.
Yeah. It's way harder, in my opinion, way harder than what we're doing right now.
It can't be that hard.
But I shouldn't say way harder,
That's
it's
easy.
harder. But, so here's my deal, I could either give you guys a quiz tomorrow on what we've done so far.
Yes, ma'am.
Or I could do Thursday, Friday, I give you a practice quiz and then a quiz on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's do that.
Quiz
on-
on.
like,
I don't know if I'm
yeah.
ready to be quizzed.
I don't know anything.
I still haven't taken my test. Oh, okay, we gotta schedule
So what do you
that.
guys think, should we see how you feel after I get done?
How long is it gonna take?
How many want to just wait till Tuesday, like I
Yeah.
have planned?
Yes.
Okay, okay, that's what we'll do
Now
then.
I see the fly.
All right,
Put your hands down.
but be prepared tomorrow is kind of tough, just be prepared for that.
Wait, are we talking like it takes a long time or it's
Oh, I gotta
actually?
get water. Gotta cool
Yes.
outside.
Both.
Both, I
Yes.
would say, they're very long problems, yes,
Or they're always fine.
they're not free. Okay, so back to what we were doing, we learned one different type of problem today. This is not it, but, so we'll just review here. Do you guys all get that we would need to factor both of these?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on the bottom, if we factor this first one,
It's easy.
okay, whoops, I'm writing too big.
Y minus 5, y plus 2.
If I factor this first one, do you guys get that you're gonna have a plus and a minus? I did add this. Do you guys all know you will have this on the back of that factoring flow chart sheet? So you'll have this on there, okay? If it's minus minus, that's the 4th rule where one's plus, one's minus. If it's y squared, it's y and y. And do you guys know the factors of -10 that gives us -3?
-5 and +2.
Very good, okay? Now, what do you guys notice when I have this?
Y minus 5.
Yeah, I have a y minus 5 on top as well as on the bottom. It is in your best interest to, if you ever notice that, to cross those out because you're gonna have less factoring to do later in the problem, okay? So now let's go over here and factor this second one. What if we have a plus and a minus, that means I have one of each. If it's y squared, I have y and y. What are 2 factors of -2 that give me a +1? +2 and -1, okay? So now let's talk about what our LCM is. We need the y plus 2 from the first one. We cross this y minus 5 out, so I don't have to worry about that. And then do you agree I just have to add the y minus 1? Okay, so if I go down, I really should rewrite this. These are gone, so do you guys get I really just have a 1 on the top? And on the bottom, I have this y plus 2. And what I would have to add is that y minus 1, which means I also have to multiply that on top. Okay? Then on this one, do I have to add anything? No. So this is just going to be y over y plus 2 times y minus 1. Okay? Now, they're both over the same denominator, so I can add them to, or, kind of combine them over that same denominator. And here, do you guys get, I would just get y minus 1. 1 times y is y, 1 times the negative 1 is minus 1. And then over here, I didn't have to multiply at all on top and bottom, so I would just have that y. And what that ends up with, I have 2y, so y plus y is 2y minus 1 over y plus 2 times y minus 1. Does it look like you could factor that top at all?
Yeah.
Like, is there anything that goes into a 2 and a 1?
No.
Right?
You're right. Never dealt with
Everybody
teacher.
good? All right, so let's go down to this one. And again, every time that I see a minus sign, I change this to plus and I'd make that negative 5 minus, okay? Or make the 5 negative is what I meant to say. So let's go ahead and try to factor this. It's minus plus, which means it's the second rule where they're both negative. And it would be p and p. Can you guys think of two negative roots of a positive 6 that give us a negative 5? Negative 2 and negative 3, very good. Now, what do you guys recognize this to be? Difference of squares. Because that's minus, this is squared, and that's 9. So if you're factoring that using difference of squares, what would that break down to? P plus 3 and P minus 3, right? Now I have to decide what is my LCM. So here I have the P minus 2 times P minus 3. Do I have to add anything from this up here? P plus 3. Okay. So now if I looked at this, what would I have to multiply this by? The first part by. What's missing down there that is the plus, P plus 3, right? So I'm going to try to sneak that in here, P plus 3. And then that 2P minus 3 on the top also needs to be multiplied by P plus 3. Okay? Now, I'm going to try to make it smaller. What do I have to include here? What's up here that's not right here? The P minus 2. So that means my top, which is negative 5, also has to be multiplied by P minus 2. You guys get that? Okay. Now I'm to the point that I can put it all over one fraction, which would have a these come in multiple of P minus 2, P minus 3, and P plus 3. Okay. And then here, if I look at this, how many, what do I have to do when I have two binomials multiplied? FOIL, right? Do you guys remember FOIL? Yeah, great.
Couldn't you something zero for 3 plus 3 on top and bottom and just cross it out and
Well, no, because we did that. That's where it's a little confusing. Up here, when I crossed these out, this was my original thing. And I just tried to make it simpler.
But when you had,
But down here, I added these P plus 3s to get this all over the same denominator. So
2P minus 3, do that.
Are you saying comparing these two?
Yeah, and then you have to, and then they have to figure out the P.
No. For 2p minus 3 to cancel, you have to have a 2p minus 3 on the bottom. So I think what you're saying is this, p minus 3 over 2p minus 3. You're saying just cross this out and cross this out and you'd be left with a 2. You can't do that. If it was this, if you had 3p over, just basically no.
If it was outside the parentheses, if it was outside the parentheses.
Yes, like this.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
good point.
it was the other way around.
Yeah, good point. Then you could cross them out. So the only way you can cross out that 2p minus 3 is if you had a 2p minus 3 on the bottom. Okay, good question. All right, now we have to FOIL this. And if you guys remember foiling, you'd go 2p times p, which is 2p squared, 2p times 3, which is 6p, negative 3 times p, which is negative 3p, and negative 3 times 3, which is negative 9. Okay, now I still have to distribute this also. So I'd go negative 5 times p is negative 5p, and negative 5 times negative 2 is plus 10. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this all over the common denominator, p minus 2 times p minus 3 times p plus 3, okay? And then I'm going to just combine like terms on the top. I have that 2p squared. Now, 6p minus 3p is 3p. So this ends up being 3p. Minus 5p is negative 2p. And then negative 9 plus 10 is plus 1. One thing you're going to find too when you're doing this is like, when am I done? When do I know for sure that I'm done? And what you would have to do here is try with trial and error to see if you can do this. You know, you can make your box if you want to. This is 2p squared. This is a positive 1. And then if you had this, remember you multiply these two to give you 2. And we need them to add up to a negative 2. Could you ever get two factors of a positive 2 to be negative 2? Can you think of any that would give you that? Two numbers that multiply to give you 2.
No.
The only thing would be 2 and 1, right? Is 2 plus 1 going to give you a negative 2?
No.
No. So that means nope, I can't factor that. So this is my answer. And as I was telling you guys yesterday, if I gave you this question on the test, if you did everything to this point and say it could have been factored, you're not going to lose all the points because you did the majority of that problem for sure. Okay, so let's go to this. This is the new type of problem that we're going to see today. And what happens, this is called a complex fraction. It has a fraction divided by a fraction, okay? And when I do this, there's two different ways I can show you this, but what I think is the easiest is you want to look at what is your least common multiple. So what's on the bottom of the fractions that I need to list here? And notice one of these fractions has an x on the bottom, and one of these fractions has a y on the bottom. So that is your least common multiple. Now what I do in these, which is different than what we have been doing, when I have a complex fraction like that, I take and I multiply every one of these times my least common multiple. And the reason is you clear out fractions that way. So what I do is I take 1 and I multiply that by xy, plus, and then it's 1 over x times xy. So I just took each of these times this. Okay, then on the bottom, I do the same thing. I have 1 times xy minus x over y times xy. Okay, once I get that done, I look at what can I cross out. Here, 1 times xy, I can't do anything with that, so that's just xy. Plus, do you guys get this x and this x would cancel, and you'd be left just with plus y? Anybody understand that? Over 1 times xy is just xy minus, here what would cancel?
Why?
The y. Okay, and x times x is x squared. Okay, so now what I have is I have it so that at least I don't have a fraction on the top and a fraction on the bottom. But what I'm going to do there is look at, can I factor anything out from each of these? Can I take anything out front of this? A y, correct? So I'd get y times, so you're thinking y times what gives us xy, that would be x, and y times what would give me y, I would need a 1. Then on the bottom, what's in both of those that I could factor out? An x, and you think x times what gives you xy, that's y, minus x times what gives me x squared, that's x. Can you factor anything or cross anything out? No. So this is your answer. So again, on the test, if you had given me this and didn't realize you could factor it more, you would lose, depending. I haven't decided yet how many points I'd give a problem like this.
1.
But if I did, the fact that you didn't do this last step might be a quarter of the points versus all of them, because you've done most of it. Okay, so let's do another one like that. What do you guys, what do you think your least common multiple would be here? You're just looking at the bottom of the fractions. Wouldn't it just be y?
Yeah.
To get that? So now I'm going to take every term and I'm going to multiply it by y. Okay. And when you do that, what you're trying to do is clear the fractions on the top and bottom. Okay. So I took every one and I multiplied by y. Now, 6 times y is 6y. What crosses out here? Y. Okay, so you'd just be plus 4 over. This is 2y. What crosses out here? Y's. And you'd be left with 6. Now you're really close to having your answer, but could you factor something out of this? A 2, right? And you'd think 2 times what gives you 6y? That's 3y. And 2 times what gives you 4? That's 2. Okay. Now if I look here, can I factor something out of that bottom part? 2. And you would think 2 times what gives you 2y, that's y. Go and put your phone away. And 2 times what gives you 6, that is 3. Could I cross anything out? The 2's. And my answer would be 3y plus 2 over y plus 3.
Yeah, you didn't show us how to do that.
Yeah, I didn't because I figured it's easier that way, so I wasn't going to show you that.
All right.
Sorry. Okay, let's look at this one. What is your least common multiple? AB, okay? So I'm going to take each of these things, 2 over B, I'm going to multiply by AB, plus 5 over A, I'm going to multiply by AB, all over 3 over A, I'm going to multiply by AB, and then it's minus 8 over B, but I'm going to make this a plus a negative 8 over B times AB, just because I never like those subtraction things. Then I go in and I start crossing out what I can. So I have a B on the bottom and a B on the top that I can cancel, and I'm left with 2A. I have an A on the bottom and the A on the top, so I'm left with 5B. I have an A on the bottom and an A on the top, so I'm left with 3B. I have a B on the bottom and a B on the bottom, so I'm left with negative 8A, or subtract 8A. Can you factor anything out of a 2 and a 5, or a 3 and an 8? So this is your answer. Are those okay?
Yes.
Okay. Last page. We don't have to do this one, we'll just talk about it, but we haven't done one like this for a bit, so let's do this one. What's the smallest number that 6 and 10 go into? And if it's not what goes into both, it's what they go into. So like I start with 10, 10, 20, 6 doesn't go into 10, 6 doesn't go into 20. Does 6 go into 30? Yes. So 30, and then you take the highest power of the variables. So it'd be A what? Squared and B squared. So what we're going to do with each of these is have them over 30 A squared B squared. Okay, what would I have to multiply 6A by to get 30 A squared B squared? I need a 5, right, to get that? Do I need any A's? I need 1A. Do I need any B's? Yep. So the reason I did this is that tells us what we have to multiply this top by. So let's do that right now. 5 times 5 is 25. And then I have an A, and I have B to what power? B squared times B is B to the third. Okay? Now let's go to that middle and decide what would I have to multiply 10A squared by to get 30 A squared B squared? A 3 and B squared. So I'm going to have to multiply this 3B times 3B squared. Now 3 times 3 is 9. What's B times B squared? B to the third. Okay. Now this last part, I have to look at what is that going to be multiplied by? Okay. This green is really ugly. So this is 30. So I'm going to have to do a 30. What else? An A.
Can we change the green?
I can. I just haven't yet. 2 times 30A is 60A. Okay. Now let's go ahead and put this all together. Over 30 A squared B squared. Now, if I do this, do you realize like these have different variables than this and this? So that means you can't combine any. So we'd get 25 A B to the third plus 9 B to the third plus 60A. Does anything come out of 25, 9, and 60? No. So that is your answer. Okay. Now let's just talk about this bottom one here. Actually, let me think about this. Yeah, that one. If I factored this bottom one, do you get if it's a minus plus? That's this second rule, and they're both negative. And if it's x squared, it's x and x. What are two factors of 8 that are both negative that add up to negative 9?
-8, -1.
Okay. So now, let's just say, and we don't have to do this whole thing, but if this is our least common multiple, because it is, right? Because this is accounted for here. This is accounted for here. So that is going to be my least common multiple. Okay. Would I have to multiply this by anything if I have both of these underneath it? No. Would I have to multiply the second part by something? Yes, this would be times the x minus 8, right? So that makes this x minus 8. Now I'm going to change this minus to a plus and put a -3 here. And then what would I have to multiply this by? X minus 1, and then multiply this by x minus 1. Then would you guys be able to do it from there? Do you want me to do it really quick? Are y'all good?
Yeah.
Okay. Owen, was that yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So your assignment is in the book today, and this is it.
Comes the complaints. You can just hear it.
We have a single book assignment on Sect.
No.
Not one.
We didn't take our book to class together.
I never put that in my life.
Until we can return it. Oh, yeah. We didn't put anything in that book.
Include literature.
Are you sick?
Absolutely no. Right.
No, nobody did that.
No.
Why, that's your new girlfriend? No one.
Smells like cheese.
No one, that's your new girlfriend. No, I have to.
What's going on over there?
He's calling his new girlfriend. Oh, it's a freshman. No, one freshman?
Yep.
I have to get interviewed for. No,
Yep, and I skipped this last one. There is an answer key for today's. It's on notebook paper again.
I have to get interviewed for.
Oh, you're gonna go here at 1 aren't you?
Yeah.
What's that?
Just going through the
You have to report it.
Correct. That's fine.